Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It's Monday. Up and at 'em, guys. Ready to do the grind, right? So I thought today's topic we would talk about, are you kind of getting in the mindset and future proofing your shop for the electric revolution, the battery operated? And I'm looking for your feedback as well. I mean, a lot of us here on the channel are older, right? So the biggest thing I see right now is battery life. Stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric. If you didn't already know it, yes, this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Monday, the 19th of January of 2026. So what am I talking about when I say future-proofing your shop for the electric revolution? It's coming. We've seen it. The writing is on the wall. And manufacturers are coming out with better, smaller, longer lasting batteries that will eventually take over most of the industry. And it's one of those deals, either you need to get on the bandwagon early, right now, and invest in time in learning and teaching and educating all there is about the battery operated ones and how to fix them, and you yourself be a technician for them. There's a lot of potential if you're willing to switch over. Now, everything that I've seen and read so far has been kind of a catastrophe. But I have a 20 volt DeWalt impact, drills, all that stuff, right? And I can remember when even DeWalt, when they first come out and started producing them, you were spending most of your time swapping batteries, especially if you were doing like putting a new metal roof on the house. I don't know how many times we had to sit around and wait and go do something else because the batteries didn't charge fast enough and didn't last long enough. But DeWalt has come a long ways with their battery. And it's a smaller, more compact battery. And you can get different sized DeWalt batteries. One for the heavy duty, longer lasting, to the smaller one that lasts quite a while. And the difference between then and now, with my DeWalt, I probably could do the roof with two batteries. Two. I got seven seven chargers and seven batteries, plus there's two in the guns and the impact. Why seven? Because when I bought the tools, the batteries come with it and the charger come with it. So I kept it all. That's where we're going with the lawnmowers and everything else that is with lawn care. Now you take the trimmers and that stuff, DeWalt makes a trimmer. You can use that 20 volt battery in and weed to your heart's content. The biggest complaint I hear out of a lot of them is the battery life and that they overheat quick, especially if you're in wet grass. It kills the battery even faster. So, and then if you have to do a battery replacement, the battery is a lot of times as much as to go buy the friggin' unit again, or over half, And the idea is if you have a shop where you're floor planning as well, you're probably selling some form of eco battery operated equipment. Every manufacturer makes them now. Steel, Husqvarna, Echo. They're all in because they see the writing on the wall, not because the consumer wants it. See, normally it's a consumer driven market, right? Whatever the consumer wants, That's what the manufacturers have always done, right? And that's how you stay in business. But it hasn't been a consumer-driven market. It's been a government-driven market of trying to so-called, cut emissions, Green New Deal. They got all these different hashtag names for everything. But in the end, they're pushing people to it and forcing people to it instead of letting the people decide. They did that with the electric cars. Remember? When the prior administration was in, they were pushing the electric cars, and they were just stupid money. And the problem with an electric car is the batteries, once they go, you go buy a new one. Because it's stupid money compared to what you paid for the whole thing. But nobody wanted them, right? Nobody wanted them. But they started forcing these mandates of what the manufacturers had to hit for a market. And they started stopping the bigger vehicles, the V8s and this and that. And consumers had an uproar. They said enough is enough, These electric cars, if you want one, here's my feeling. If you want an electric car, knock yourself out. I probably would even consider one that was both electric and fuel, so that when you could run on electric until it started getting low, flip it over to fuel, run that, and while it's charging up the batteries, flip back. But that would be too easy, right? No, they wanted everybody to go electric by a certain time frame. And global warming is, and I'm not here to yay or nay. All I can tell you is it seems like it's doing the same thing it has since beginning of time. Are we getting less snow? Yeah, but the problem with that is the earth is rotating as well to a canter every year. So you're not in the coldest part. You start moving. Pretty quick, Florida is going to have like a foot of snow. Sucks to be them. What are you missing out on? What do you need to do to get your shop ready for electric? First thing is, I would start advertising that I am doing electric. And you really need to know what you're doing, okay? Because these batteries, they look tiny, but they're hot. I mean, they're lithium batteries, and they carry quite a good voltage. So you want to have the equipment to test the electrical part. What I'm seeing with most of them is either the battery issue or a fuse issue on them. And like the Ecos, they bury the fuses down in under the front cover. So you're going to have like a torque 25 or 27 to get at it. But you're also going to have the testing equipment to test to see if the fuse is good or not, And those testers can be had for less than $100 for really good ones. Or you can grab one from Harbor Freight or Temu for $10. Pay a little extra money, get something of quality so you can check to see, connectivity in the unit. But you're missing out big time if you're not adapting. And when I say you're missing out big time, gas, spark plugs and that are going to be around for a while. Don't worry. If you're my age, it's not going to happen within my lifetime. But if you're younger and you're trying to get your shop where you're staying ahead of the curve, if you haven't already, you need to invest in battery technology and the eco stuff. If you're not selling it, you need to be able to warranty it. And this is an ideal time to start hooking up with different companies like, the ones that sell online and everything else, or Tractor Supply, or even the dealerships, like the warranty shops, that you're willing to do it. And it's going to be a small segment right now, but it's still a segment that is being left behind because nobody out there is fixing these things. They're just running them until they get crapped out, and then you see them on the curbs on junk day, And it's sad because these people invested quite a bit of money into these electric ones. But most homeowners are going to look and think, well, it's the battery, and the battery is 300 and some dollars. And that's the other thing. On a typical lawn, if it's a little tall or wet, you're going to want two batteries to get the yard mowed because the one battery just isn't going to be enough. Boy, look at the cost of the batteries. The batteries are crazy. But if you can offer that service, a lot of times it's the fuse on those things. It is. It's not the battery, it's the fuse. Or it could be the charger, contacts not clean, a number of things. It's still the same kind of thing that you're doing with the gas engines right now, but it's just a different set of procedures to follow and what to check. And before you throw the baby out with the bathwater, you should be considering this. If I were doing where I was on like a main road and I had a lot of foot traffic through the door, I would have battery operated on one whole wall. That is just battery, and then the shelving below would be new batteries and parts for those, whatever brand I carried. Absolutely. For starting out, if you're a shop that has 3 or 4 mechanics, you could take one bay and just convert that over to electric, get it cleaned up, and see if there's enough work to warrant to that. And during that time, you could be cross-training your mechanics to be able to do that. Because eventually, they're going to phase out the gas. It's going to be an antiquer. And if you're young and you're trying to get into this, hear me out. Because a lot of this stuff, swapping the blades, cleaning the deck, you're going to have certain procedures that you do. But instead of doing a compression check and fire, you're going to do battery life, fuse, and connections. Seem reasonable? Now, if you start talking like internal parts, you can get most of those through the dealers. Or if you're a dealer, you should be able to get most of them parts anyway. Broken handles, on and off switches, stuff like that. In the comments, have you already started leaning that way? If you are, what are the results that you're seeing? Is the equipment holding up? If you're selling it, I'll be honest with you. The only thing battery I've got is my power equipment for the shop, the DeWalt's, the 20 volt. Why the 20 volt DeWalt? Because we pound the crap out of it. And they keep going and going and going. I've got Porta-Cable. I've got, what's the other one? A couple different brands, all right? Same year as these 20 volt. And then the DeWalt does circles around them. Day in, day out. And I told you about my one Impact DeWalt. We had lost it. I couldn't find it, mine. And it had dropped into a pail of hydraulic fluid. Inside and submerged. And we found it the following day when we were filling a tractor with new hydraulic fluid. And there it was. So we air dried it out. We blew it out with the air gun first, and then we just hung it up to air dry. And a couple of days later, I threw a battery in it. And I'm still using it. I have 2 of them now. I replaced it thinking it was shot. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. I know that you can say not in my shop because Claude has already kind of leaned towards not happening because he doesn't want to deal with it. And he feels that it's losing money because customers aren't going to want to pay for a new battery or the time that it takes to try to diagnose all of this electrical system. But I come back at him, and I'll come back at you if you're any kind of a mechanic. You've been diagnosing electrical issues for probably most of your repair time years, right? You're hand packing to see if you've got power from the switch to the starter, from the power from the starter to the solenoid to the. You're already doing all these testing to see what's going on electrical, right? With the charging system to the stator to the pickup. It's not that big of a leap to do electric if you really think about it. I'm already starting to gear towards that, of trying to educate myself on the different things that are going wrong with them. Are they worth bringing them into the shop? Because the blades still need to be sharpened. You could offer, a service on it every spring, get it all cleaned out, shop vac, make sure everything is working good, the connections. And you could also have storage where you could tag them, pull their batteries out, put the name on the battery so you know that it belongs to that person, and not leave it in the machine for it to corrode all winter long. So on that note, put in the comments what your thoughts are on it. And you guys have a wonderful Monday. I'm going to see if I can get Claude to take a look at that snowblower in front of the camera. He's camera shy at times, but alrighty. You enjoy your Monday.